Pour Out of Hagsjaw by Levi Combs. This is a Neverwinter Necromancer Games product for Swords and Wizardry. It is probably for other systems as well, but why would you get it on anything other than Swords and Wizardry when you have the option, right? Um, okay, so you can see by the artwork here on the cover, we are dealing with a rather dark adventure, and that is absolutely 100% accurate. There are dark vibes in this thing all the way through, and it is very, 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 very cool. At least my impressions of it so far are they are very, very, very cool. Um, so you have a nice, tantalizing description of what the module is on the back. We have, oh, that's what I was going to the back for, was for the page count. I believe it's 19 pages. So not a very beefy module, but at the same time, they do these very long form page. I hope that that's not bothering you. These long form pages with lots of tiny text. That's the only thing about Necromancer and Frog God Games products that gets me is all the little tiny text. I'm not a fan of that. But I do like the pages. I do like the pages. The pages are nice. The art goes from beautiful cover art, which is to be expected. And your interior art is okay. It's not terrible. It's not bad. You do have this is a rather good piece right here. That gives you an idea of what you might be in for. They don't look happy to see us. Um, let's see. Your maps are just as they were in. I believe it was 1979? I think that was the one that I showed before. That was a Frog God Games one, but it's very similar in that. I mean, it looks like it's made to be perfectly translated to virtual tabletop. So it's functional, very functional. Nothing pretty, nothing beautiful, but it does the job. You have your measurements. Everything about the formatting and the layout and all this. It does the job, 100%. So that's good. So what is a Horror Out of Hagsjaw? So it is an adventure for 4 to 6 characters of levels 4 to 6. And because it's an old school system, that means you can it a little bit and you'll still get some good times out of it. It won't be that big of a deal. But if you go too low, like, I'd say, level 3 characters could easily be wiped very, very, very easily just at looking at, what these things are capable of. I haven't run this yet. This is just my impressions. But yeah, it's pretty dangerous. Okay, background-wise, the village that is known as Hagsjaw now, it used to be known as Hogsjaw Hollow. It is uh, pretty much a settlement for sawmills. They have a big sawmill. That's what they do. They make lots of lumber. That's what they're good for. They have some farms and stuff like that, but that's what they're good for. They had a hag problem a long time ago, and they got rid of it. And the hags swore that they would have their revenge someday, and they cursed all the villagers. And then the skulls of the hags were scattered, never to be seen again, hopefully. But that wasn't the case. A very prestigious person in the village found one of the skulls and touched it and was possessed, and that's how that works. They touch the skull, they get possessed. Then the possessed person tricked another person into touching another skull that they found, so that person could get possessed, and they are trying to find the third skull. When the player characters arrive, that is the plan. That is the plot of the bad guys. They have all these thralls because they can use charm person, and they are controlling all these people, using them as their eyes and ears and arms, hands, whatever you want to call them, throughout the village to enact their evil plans. The hags at present are currently having a negotiation with something else that's out in the woods where people stopped going because it was too dangerous. And they all think that it's cursed, but it's not cursed exactly. There is a cult of satyrs out there that is worshiping an elder god. Now, I'm not going to say the name of the elder god. You will see it in print as I go along. The reason I'm not saying it out loud is I don't want the algorithm to think I'm saying the wrong thing and condemn the video, which could happen. Dang it, Lovecraft. Why could you not name it something else? Anyway, okay. So the big thing is that you want to try and find the skulls. You want to try and figure out what's going wrong here, because whenever the player characters arrive, and there are a few different reasons that they might, we have some, the bad storm forced us there. Oh, we just stumbled on it. There's a friend that we have out here that says they're kind of concerned about stuff, that kind of thing. So we have our reasons for why they might come here. And we have some an NPC. Most of the NPCs are not going to be very talkative in the village. They're very downtrodden. This whole place is foreboding. It just seems like a place that's ready to die. The whole town just seems like it's ready to die, except for the sawmill. That seems to be doing fairly well. You also have this man, Jeb. And Jeb is one of many NPCs, but he is probably the most detailed NPC as far as what kinds of things he might tell you. But he has a lot of character, and I think that this is going to be one of the things that the players are going to, get some pretty decent interactions with. They get some pretty good information out of him before, he kind of sobers up a little bit and realizes, wait a minute, I don't want to piss off whatever bad stuff is going on here, because I think that there is some, maybe the hags are around, or something bad is going to happen. I don't want to deal with it. So I'd better shut up, kind of thing. I like that we do have all this dialogue that we could theoretically just read out, but I think it would be a lot smarter to internalize the way that he speaks and come up with some bullet points to reference for each of the different things that they might ask. So that's neat. Jeb, you are a cool NPC. I like you. We have a tavern that is run by somebody who's not very warm, which is always fun. We have the sawmill where they can speak with, what's his name? One of the Tatterleys. Let's see. So there's some basic supply stores they can go to. They can go to the stables and take care of their horses, all that kind of thing. The big places that they can go to that are important, though, are the ruined church, where they will be able to find the skull, two of the skulls, after the hags possessed two of the Tatterley family members. They created a shrine inside this ruined church and placed the skulls there. So they plan to get the third one and bring it there. And they have quite the monstrosity there to swallow everything. And they are all in service to this elder god that I spoke of before. So there's this place, Black Blood Rock, that is another place to visit, which really, there's not much there except for the possibility of being lured to your death by will-o'-the-wisps. So that's always fun. We have a farm that they might encounter brown mold. So, again, that's always fun. We have some residents that they can encounter. There's 8 of them, and you can roll on the table whenever they're wandering around town, and they might bump into this person or that person, and they can get a little bit of information, trying to parse through it. There's some things here, but none of it really is going to put them exactly where they need to go. For the most part, the expectation is very likely they'll go to the church. They may stay at the inn. Well, hopefully they'll probably stay at the inn. When they do so, they will be attacked by some charmed locals. The locals will be trying to kill them, capture them, or just see how powerful they are, because the witches don't really have too much to lose. If they go to the church, then they can investigate that and learn a little bit about what's going on here. With the right spell, they can identify that it was indeed this elder god that is being worshipped. As far as the monsters go, they are pretty standard swords and wizardry stat blocks. There are a couple new ones, but not a whole lot of new stuff with it. If you're hoping to get a lot of new content out of this is really just cleverly arranged and well put together rather than new, if that makes sense. You know, of course the town and the setup and all that is different, but you have a whole section here explaining what happens whenever they touch the skull, because people will touch skulls whenever they find them. Sometimes, you know, especially if they think they're important, and that is going to make bad stuff happen. So now, if they start wandering through the woods, because they should at some point hear stuff about bad things in the woods and go to investigate, then they will inevitably arrive at the altar to that elder god I was talking about. And they will be able to encounter Bramble Jean, the very, very evil satyr that wants to ruin the world for humanity. Well, just wants to destroy humanity for the most part, just kind of hates humanity. And a whole other collection of satyrs. They've been leaving the village alone because of their deal with the hags. But they're all on the same side. But somebody that has been captured by the satyrs knows where the third skull is, the halfling Rufus. If he dies, then you pretty much have to use Speak with Dead in order to get your answer, in order to find out where the skull is. So maybe that could be a weakness, is that, you know, as written, there really is one way to find out where that third skull is. Otherwise, you just kind of have to luck into it. I don't see why you would. I guess if you searched around in the mountains long enough, or you know, like actually, I guess it would be in the forest, you might stumble on the cave, but kind of unlikely, I would say. Now, if I had to make another complaint, it would be that once you get to the final dungeon delve, it is incredibly linear. It is A to B, because there's literally no other way around. How do I feel about that? I mean, at least it's going to be quick. It will be really quickly. There's no left or right. It's just forward. So that is the thing. I mean, there are still things that can happen on the way there. You've got, you know, some environmental hazards galore, actually, which is always appreciated. But as far as actual exploratory content, really, you don't have much. That's a great shot. Whenever it comes to the town, you know, it's kind of a point crawl. Hey, let's go to the sawmill. Let's go to the stables. And whenever you're at the altar, there's nothing really. I mean, yeah, I guess you could find hidden treasure, but you probably won't. And then there is the church, which is, you know, just there's not a whole lot of exploring here. This is a very rich module in terms of writing. The writing is solid. It does a good job of giving you money. Thank goodness. You know, one of the things that I always complain about some modules is that they don't give you money. Compared to the kind of money that I've been giving out, this is not much, but it's still something. So that's nice. Let's see, what else? Okay, so if they deal with the third skull, once they find the third skull and they return back to town, there is a very cool showdown that will happen, assuming that they return. The hags will have gathered their thralls together, and they will be there in order to fight the good guys, pretty much, kind of like a final showdown, which could be very climactic, especially considering they don't know who the other possessed person is at this point. They know that Barnaby is likely possessed based on the clues that they will find, very likely, but they don't know about the other one, very likely. And as you can see, the other Tatterley has spells, and I believe Barnaby does as well. I think they both have spells. Lightning bolt, fireball. So as I said, they could easily wipe out a party of low-level adventurers, and the other hag, for instance, will be hiding on top of a rooftop while raining down fire from above. So it's gonna be a rough one. All right, so I like how we have here this section of new monsters and new magic items. They don't do a whole lot of new stuff we've never seen before, or anything like that, but they've got good flavor. The corrupted tree is kind of like a evil tree ant, and there's a lot. I guess I'm not selling enough the fact that the writing in this is pretty superb. You know, it has some really gross stuff in here. When I say gross, what I mean is gory. It's very gory. There's a lot of gory stuff in here, but there needs to be, because these are foul cultists and hags. This is what you need to happen. So you can get from that the ability to describe some really gruesome situations to your players and really fit the vibe. Um, the magic items are similarly pretty dark. You know, there's just kind of a dark aesthetic, and beneath all of that, there is still a lot of charm. The villagers like Jeb and all of them, they have kind of like I don't know how Appalachian kind of vibe to them, or a Southern kind of vibe to them, as far as their naming schemes, the way that they talk. Um, and so because of that, they can come across as endearing, at least the ones that'll talk to you. All in all, I think this is really cool. I'm looking forward to stealing bits and pieces of it, if not just running it wholesale for one of my groups, assuming that they follow the hook, because I don't just force them to do things usually once we've started a campaign. But all in all, it is a very cool adventure. I recommend it. If you would like to make it better, in my opinion, then I would add some more heft to that final cave. Um, maybe not the altar. The altar is probably fine. You know, you just find it while you're off in the wilderness. But you know, I kind of like the idea of making a difficult delve for this skull here. But that being said, if you want to be able to get faster, then maybe it's better to just do a straight shot like they have here. I like there to be multiple pathways. That's just me. Anyway, I think it's very cool. Levi, well done. I will have to check out more of your work. Thanks everybody for checking this out, and I hope you have a wonderful day.